Have you ever had a moment like this and completely forgot what you were about to say? What was I gonna say? Damn it.
An idea.
You can escape.
Ideas are bulletproof.
Hello, Becca here from ALifeLearned, and lack of concentration is only one of many things that people with chronic pain experience, and I've been having a pretty hard time with my chronic pain lately, and so I wanted to share with everyone the progress that I've made since the last video that I did make and how I'm learning to cope. In that video, I shared different facts about chronic pain, such as the fraction of the population that experiences it or how it affects the brain. So if you're interested in stuff like that, feel free to click up here and check it out. I'm a little awkward because it was a while ago and I'm better at YouTubing now, or at least a little bit better, but just wanting to give an update as to where I am after making that video. I've still got a really hard time with taking medications. I'm still pretty afraid of taking some of the things that are offered to me for my condition, which is fibromyalgia, though it should be noted that there are a lot of different chronic pain conditions, and a lot of them, of course, are invisible, which is the hardest thing to deal with, is no one else can really see what you're going through, although if anything they can see is your symptoms, the suffering that you exhibit in your depression, in your inability to get out of bed, inability to do certain tasks, need for help. And those are some things that I've sort of been learning about, is that it's really important, of course, to ask for help, and particularly to not feel bad for the things that you're not able to do or less able to do. It's really hard not to feel like lesser of a person or incapable in some way when you genuinely can't do things that other adults your age or anyone perfectly capable can do, because you have certain pains that generally make you weaker, because when you're experiencing pain, of course, you use less force on that muscle or area. And my particular pain is focused very much in my shoulders, back and arms, and in my elbows as well. And so, like, using my hands at all is really painful, and it's been a pretty hard week for me, actually, where I've been having a hard time getting out of bed, been having a hard time just kind of sitting. I don't have the greatest chair to sit in at my computer, for starters, and that would be one piece of advice I'd have, is if you're a person who regularly sits or regularly does a certain activity such as walking, it's really good to make sure you have a good chair that's made for sitting for long periods of time, or good shoes that are made for walking for long periods of time, or anything that's going to have extended impacts on your body. You should really be conscientious of stuff that's going to do that and try to minimize that if you're someone with chronic pain. Another thing that I'm really focusing on is, in terms of chronic pain conditions, a lot of the times it's your brain sort of remembering old pains that you did have as a result of damage in the body, but the damage is gone and the pain is remembered. That is something that is heavily studied in fibromyalgia, still not really understood, but I do have PTSD as well, so it's highly suggested that a lot of my pain is kind of, I think, what's referred to as psychosomatic, where it's kind of in my head. That doesn't mean it's not real, that I'm not feeling it, but that, like, my brain is making it, even though there is no damage to report, which is what pain is supposed to be. A signal from your brain reporting that there's damage. It's being created by the brain and thus can be addressed by neuroplasticity. That is the concept of growing and changing our brain, which is also addressed with PTSD through therapy, but it's not really understood where a lot of chronic pain conditions come from. But biologically, what is understood is that it's the brain creating a signal, even though there isn't physical damage to show in the body, with fibro in particular. And so in those cases, one of the main ways to address it is to try and work on the psychosomatic factors that affect pain, such as stress and anxiety. So I've been really working on stress management, of course PTSD related, because that's just how you heal your brain, but also fibromyalgia and chronic pain related, in that being under stress increases my tension and increases the amount of pain that I'm in, and it makes my brain react with a lot more pain sensories or pain responses. So trying to not be so upset about certain things, trying to work on things that make me anxious, such as cleanliness or being around people. I've been really working on that and getting better gradually. But yeah, the last week has been a really bad one for me, so I just wanted to share with everyone that invisible illnesses are really hard to deal with, and medication is definitely something to consider to get yourself going, but it's not the only answer to dealing with it, and it shouldn't be the main answer, because a lot of chronic pain conditions aren't the result of damage, they're the result of a lot of different things in your life. And so in trying to address how you experience the chronic pain and how you can reduce stress in your life and how you can get help for it, above and beyond just taking medication, is always a good idea. And never feel like you're alone in it. That's one of the hardest things to deal with when dealing with any type of chronic pain, no matter what condition it is always feeling so alone, like no one understands what you're going through. And of course, no one can perfectly understand your pain, but we can empathize, and there are a lot of support groups out there. There are a lot of people out there who do care that you're suffering. Even if you don't have anyone immediately around you, such as family or friends, there's lots of people on the internet who want to help with things like this, who understand, who are going through it. I myself am going through it, suffering pretty hard day to day, but doing my best to get through. And I really care, so feel free to message me if you're looking for someone to talk with about it and looking for maybe some advice on ways to cope. I'm of course not through it. I don't know if I'll ever be through it, but working on it. And I've really found one of the main things that's helped me is self-forgiveness, in that when I can't do things, when I can't do my dishes, when I can't get out of bed, like genuinely just too tired, too sore, when I can't go out to events, when I can't do anything in particular that is caused because I'm in pain, I try to forgive myself for it and not be further upset about my inability in that moment. Thankfully, it's not that way all the time. So there is the ability to say, well, maybe next time I'll be able to go. And of course, there is ways of reducing the pain and addressing the pain so that I can still go to certain things and attend certain things, get out of bed and such, but not holding it against myself, basically not judging myself, is the key and has been the key to the progress that I've made. And it's what I really do suggest anyone who's dealing with chronic pain try to keep in mind, is depression and sad feelings are going to be really hard on you in results of feeling like you can't do things, and the depression you get out of being unable to get out of bed and such. And just try not to hold it against yourself, try not to judge yourself, and maybe treat yourself the way others might be treating you because they can't understand your illness. You need to be the #1 forgiver of the pain that you're going through in order to reduce it as much as possible. And do always reach out for help. And please feel free to comment below about your experiences with chronic pain. Share your story, how you're experiencing what condition you have, and how you're learning to cope. Maybe what medications you might take, and what yogas or whatever exercises you might do to deal with your pain, where your pain is, and how long you've had it. Share your story, and again, feel free to personally message me if you'd like to talk for any reason or seek support in any way. And as always, please join me again next week where I try again to share a little something I've learned in life.